Ever wondered why so few people land those six-figures quant jobs at Jane Street or Citadel? The truth is, most fail because they learn things in the wrong order and get stuck at the interview stage. That's why today I'm going to show you the exact roadmap from zero to getting hired, step by step, with the best resources for each stage. Before you map out what to learn, you need to understand what you're learning it for, because the quant world has 5 distinct roles that each require a different emphasis. Quant traders develop and execute algorithmic trading strategies. They use mathematical models to make split-second trading decisions, and their work sits at the intersection of math, speed, and market intuition. Quant researchers are the ones building the models. They use statistics, machine learning, and large data sets to identify patterns that predict market behavior, and they typically work closely with traders to turn their research into profitable strategies. Quant developers build the technology that powers the trading systems. They're the engineers who write the code that executes trades at high speed, and they need strong backgrounds in C++, Java, Python, and SQL. Risk quants assess potential financial losses and help firms avoid catastrophic exposure. They build risk models that stress test portfolios under extreme scenarios, and their work is increasingly important as regulators mandate more rigorous risk analysis. And machine learning quant implements deep learning and AI models to identify trading opportunities. Every one of these roles requires 3 foundational skills: mathematics, programming, and financial knowledge. The emphasis on each one shifts depending on the role, but you need all 3, and the order you learn them in determines how quickly you become competitive. And the reason the order matters is because mathematics is the language everything else is built on, and trying to learn financial modeling or algorithmic trading without a strong math foundation is the single most common reason people stall out. The first skill, and the one you should spend the most time on, is mathematics. Every quant interview at every firm starts with math. If you can't solve probability problems, work through linear algebra, and reason through optimization questions under pressure, the interview is over before it starts. The specific areas you need to be comfortable with are probability and statistics, which is the foundation of everything, linear algebra, which underpins how models process data, and stochastic calculus, which is the math behind options pricing and risk modeling. The best free resource for building this foundation is Harvard's Stat 110 course, which is a full introduction to probability and statistics that's available on YouTube. MIT OpenCourseWare covers linear algebra and multivariable calculus, and Khan Academy fills in any gaps in the basics. The goal isn't to become a pure mathematician. The goal is to be fluent enough that when a quant interview puts a probability problem in front of you, you can reason through it clearly and arrive at the answer under time pressure. For interview-specific math practice, sites like quantquestions.io and Brainstellar provide the exact types of problems that firms like Jane Street, HRT, and Citadel use in their interviews. The second skill is programming, and you should start this alongside math rather than after it. Python is the most important language to learn first because it's used across every type of quant role for data analysis, backtesting strategies, and building machine learning models. Libraries like NumPy and Pandas are standard tools in the industry, and being comfortable with them is a baseline expectation. C++ is the second language to learn, and it matters most for quant developer roles and high-frequency trading where execution speed is critical. The best free starting point is Harvard's CS50 course for programming fundamentals, and from there, you can specialize in data science and machine learning through courses on Coursera or directly through Python documentation and projects. For coding interviews specifically, LeetCode and Codeforces are the 2 platforms that cover the algorithm and data structure problems you'll face, and doing 100 to 150 problems on LeetCode before your first interview gives you a strong foundation for the coding rounds. The third skill is financial theory, and this is where the good news is. You don't need to know financial theory before you apply. Firms expect strong math and coding skills from day one, but they teach you the finance on the job. That said, having a basic understanding of concepts like the Black-Scholes model shows genuine interest and gives you context for the interview questions that reference financial instruments. The Udemy course I've linked in the description covers quantitative finance and algorithmic trading in Python, and it bridges the gap between the math and coding you've already learned and the financial applications you'll use them for. 2 years ago, learning quantitative finance meant grinding through textbooks for months before you could build anything practical. AI tools have compressed that timeline significantly. You can now use Claude or ChatGPT to explain stochastic calculus concepts in plain language, walk you through probability problems step by step, debug your Python code in real time, and help you build your first trading model in an afternoon instead of a month. That doesn't mean AI replaces the learning. You still need to understand the math deeply enough to solve problems without assistance in an interview, because quant interviews are done without AI tools. But AI compresses the time it takes to understand a concept from hours to minutes, which means the overall timeline from 0 to interview ready shrinks from 2 to 3 years down to about 12 to 18 months for someone studying consistently. And inside the quant industry itself, AI fluency has become a baseline expectation rather than a bonus. Firms expect candidates to be comfortable using machine learning tools for predictive modeling, natural language processing for analyzing earnings calls and SEC filings, and reinforcement learning for developing trading strategies. So learning to use AI tools well during your preparation doesn't just speed up your study, it directly builds a skill that hiring managers are screening for. The practical way to use AI during preparation is to treat it as a study partner. Upload your practice problems and ask it to check your work. Paste in a concept you don't understand and ask it to explain it 3 different ways. Build a trading model and ask it to review your code. The more you interact with AI tools while learning quant skills, the more natural it becomes to use them in the role itself. And this is where the barrier to entry has shifted. You no longer need a PhD to start building quant-level models, because AI tools let you prototype faster, test ideas without writing everything from scratch, and iterate on models at a pace that wasn't possible 5 years ago. But the fundamentals still matter. AI accelerates how fast you learn, not whether you need to learn, and every quant firm will test your understanding without AI assistance in the interview. If you're starting from 0 and treating this as a serious commitment, here's the sequence I'd follow. Months 1 through 3, build the math foundation. Work through Harvard's Stat 110 for probability, MIT OpenCourseWare for linear algebra and calculus, and start practicing probability problems daily using Brainstellar or quantquestions.io. By the end of month 3, you should be able to solve probability and combinatorics problems confidently and explain your reasoning clearly. Months 3 through 6, add programming alongside continued math practice. Start with Harvard's CS50, then move into Python for data analysis using NumPy and Pandas. Build your first simple project, something like a stock price analyzer or a basic portfolio optimizer, so you have working code to show in interviews. Start LeetCode problems at the easy level and work up to medium. Months 6 through 9, start building quant-specific projects. This is where the Udemy course I linked comes in, because it connects your math and coding skills to financial applications like algorithmic trading and quantitative analysis. Build a backtesting framework. Implement a Black-Scholes options pricing model, or create a momentum-based trading strategy and measure its performance against a benchmark. These projects matter because they go on your resume, and having 2 or 3 well-documented quant projects is what separates candidates who get interviews from candidates who don't, especially if you don't come from a target school. Months 9 through 12, interview preparation. Practice with the types of questions firms actually ask, which means probability puzzles, mental math drills, coding challenges, and market-related scenarios. Sites like quantquestions.io have the exact questions asked by top firms, and doing 2 or 3 practice problems daily for 12 weeks gives you enough repetition to handle the pressure of a timed interview. And during this entire 12-month period, enter every competition you can. Math Olympiads, Code Forces contests, and quantitative trading competitions all serve the same purpose. They give you a track record of problem-solving under pressure, which is exactly what quant firms are screening for. One thing to keep in mind is that you don't need a degree from a top university to get hired, but you do need to demonstrate the same level of ability that top university graduates bring. If you go to a target school, the pipeline to interviews is more direct because firms recruit on campus. If you don't, competitions, projects, and a strong online presence on platforms like GitHub and LinkedIn close that gap. And firms like Jane Street have publicly stated that they hire from small schools as long as the candidate demonstrates exceptional problem-solving ability. The path is demanding, but it's well-defined, and the compensation on the other side makes it one of the highest returning investments of time and effort in any career. And if you want to start building quant-level projects right now, I've linked a course in the description that walks you through quantitative finance and algorithmic trading in Python step by step, and it's the fastest way to connect the math and coding foundations to practical financial applications. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown, and I'll see you in the next one.